ahead and, like, introduce yourselves, like, person by person, kind of what y'all play, like, instruments-wise and vocals-wise and that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Sure. This is Jack Barrett.
Should I go? I'm actually going?
You're going.
Yeah, I'm Jack. I'm drums. I'm on vocals on one track, probably our best track, called Mr. Mayhem.
It's my favorite.
Yeah.
And then various percussion instruments, I suppose.
I'm Parker Lubin. I play bass, and I'm on one line of one track, vocally.
Best line.
I'm Joe. I play guitar and sing. And yeah.
And I'm Doug Neubauer. I play guitar and sing as well.
And I'm Josh Blybaum. I play keys and sing.
And
guitar.
And
And
produces.
Also used to be
mixes
Drum
and
mixes
masters
and engineers.
He does.
I do the hard
Wears
work.
a lot of hats.
He's the glue.
He has a lot of hats. He has a lot of hats.
He does the stuff
hard
we don't
work.
want to do.
Everyone else just stands on stage and looks pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're the, like, behind-the-scenes guy. So just tell me kind of, like, how y'all met, because I find this very interesting, because I know all of y'all are from very different majors. Like, one of y'all is, like, a sports management major, and somebody's, like, a mechanical engineering major.
Yeah.
I did some research, if you cannot tell.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
So just go ahead and tell, like, how did y'all meet? Because this seems very interesting to me.
So I guess it would start. I think I actually met Josh before you.
Hey.
My roommate was good friends with his roommate, and so we were all just hanging out one night, and I went over to their place in E-Squad, and I walked in their room. I saw him on his little boom bat machine at his desk just making beats.
That's what they call it.
And
So the kids call it.
I think we went to a soccer game or something. And
Yeah, we went to the Clemson.
So we had to stop because we had to all do stuff, but yeah, cool.
So I think we were going to the Clemson soccer game, and that was like Josh and I's first encounter, and honestly our only encounter for pretty long, right?
A while.
Then
Until like November.
so Joe and I had mutual friends and came from the same area before college, and we got connected through that, and then we pledged together, and then have lived together for the last 3 years. So the band kind of came together when Josh and I started talking over the summer of 2020, and then we got Joe in the loop, and all started like sharing around some ideas. And then when we got back to school, you guys started jamming. You want to say a little about that?
Me and Joe just started playing, and then all four of us got in the same room, and we liked what we heard.
They like to think the band started with them. The band started with Doug and I. I want you to make sure that's very clear. Me and Doug started the band.
That's very true.
The second we put our guitars in our hands together for the first time and the fireworks, it literally almost burned down Granby Mills, I think.
It was harmoniously hot.
Parker came in that day, too, and jumped on the bass. No, I'm just kidding. It was definitely Josh and Parker kind of like, they had their own little thing going on. Me and Doug had worked together. We used to bounce together. Then I quit, and he stuck it out. But he hit me up, and he was like, yo, dude, like long time no talk, like, heard you play guitar. So it was kind of this weird, like, a lot of different things were happening at once. Like, these two kind of were chatting, brought me in the loop, the three of us were chatting, and then me and Doug started, and we were like, let's get the four of us in one room. Then the band really took off when we brought in JB2 into the band on the drums. Josh has never been a drummer before, but he was like, you know what, like, he can do everything, right? So he jumped on the kit. But you were kind of the one to come to us and say, like, I think what would take us to the next level is if we brought in someone who was, like, drummed their whole life into the band. And we were like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, you're a great drummer. Like, this is awesome. And you were like, well, if it ever happens that someone wants to be a part of it and we can find someone, let's do it. Jack's a grade younger than us, and we kind of had known that he was an awesome drummer. And I think after, like, you saw us play at Rooftop one time, we kind of, like, you guys started talking, right?
Yeah, we were out at Tin Roof.
It was, no, where were we? We had, like, a bar rental or something. And then, my big is in their grade and was like, oh, dude, like, you have to say something to them, like, they're looking for a drummer. And I was like, I'm, like, not going to do that. I haven't picked up a pair of sticks in 2 years, whatever. And then eventually he pushed me to talk to Parker, and then we went to Tin Roof and just hung out, watched the band, and just talked music. And then from there, it was just like Parker was just like, you just have to come in and play with us at least once. And then that's kind of where it was.
Yeah, and then as soon as Jack played with us, we kind of all, like, Josh jumped back on, like, the keyboard, had his guitar around his back, and we were like, oh yeah, this is, like, what we're actually going to be able to go from guys who just play in a room together to like being a solid band.
It's what it was supposed to be.
Yeah. So yeah, it was kind of like, it was kind of like a lot of little things happening at once that kind of ended up being the 5 of us, you know?
Yeah, that's really cool. So
Yeah.
you said y'all were doing like bouncing, and then y'all were doing.
Yeah, so like we were roommates. Me and
Yeah.
him worked together, and these two had met each other based off like him seeing him wearing a T-shirt and just being like, "Yo, I love Pro Era" or something. And then so like it was all these kind of like little connections, like me and him connected, me and those two, and through COVID, like I think all of us being musicians like had a ton of time for those March to August to like really like my life became music like the biggest it's ever been, and it's kind of carried on to now. And I think we all kind of had that kind of same experience, and we all kind of got back to school in August, and we're like kind of itching to like keep playing with people. So it was kind of, I think if we all met freshman year, it wouldn't have happened, because we kind of needed that time, at least maybe not so much for you, but for the 3 of us, I think, to really kind of hone in on our craft a little bit, and then come back in for junior year and be like, let's do something about this, you know?
Yeah, you almost like need COVID to be like, okay, school is okay, but like I really want to like.
Yeah, because you're locked in your room,
it,
you know?
yeah.
Like you're stuck in your room, and like you're not going out and seeing people. So like, what else are you gonna do besides turn to your? I mean, you have your Xbox there, and you have your guitar. So like, you know,
Your choice.
you can make a choice. So I'm glad we picked guitar or bass or.
Guitar is definitely a little bit better for the stimulating for the brain, I would
Yeah,
say. So y'all's name is Bull Street Garage, which is actually like right behind us. Where did that name come from for y'all? Like, why did y'all name it like Bull Street Garage? Because that's such like a central part of.
Yeah, so we named it after Bull Street Garage, the parking garage.
Contrary to
Yes.
popular belief, we didn't name it after us.
It was named after us.
Yeah.
No, I lived in East Quad freshman year
Mhm.
on the northern facing side of the building. Or that's where my window looked out to, at least. So I was like looking out to Bull Street Garage. Since freshman year, I'd wanted to start a band, but kind of, I was like not necessarily an introvert when it came to music, but I had never played music collectively with people. But I had always thought like, I really want to do this, and I'm going to do it before I leave college. And so since freshman year, I was thinking like, what would be a good name for a band? I had a whole list of the most ridiculous names you've ever heard in my phone, and then one day, like after the 3 of us, me, Parker, Joe, had met up and kind of started to record a little bit, just like stupid little loops basically in my room. We finished one day and we were like, all right, we're a band now. What's our name? I said, I think we went through a couple stupid things, and then we went to the final stupid thing, which was Bull Street Garage, and it stuck.
We were like, yes. As soon as you like, it was like you say a name, and you're like, yeah, you say a name, you're like, oh, and they say that, you're like, that's the name.
I think what actually happened
Yeah.
was Joe laughed for a second and was like, all right.
That's how it actually
yeah. You're like, oh yeah, okay. And then you guys left.
I don't know if it was like a definite yes. I think it was just like we were like.
I think it took a couple weeks until like we started really. We're like, I think we're a band now. Like, what's our name? And then we're like, well, a while ago we talked about Bull Street Garage. Like, that kind of works.
Yeah.
Our playlist name when we were like picking songs to learn was Bull Street Garage too, and that like definitely helped it stick a little bit more too.
That like set it in stone. You were like,
Yeah.
okay.
I think that locked
It really just came from like looking out my window and trying to think of a list of names and coming up with a lot of bad ideas until the last bad idea.
And that was a great idea because it's a
Thanks.
very known known thing in like USC and 5 Points area and everything like that. So y'all just released this new album called, I think it's like your album. It's called Bull Street Garage. So like named after y'all, of course. And so like, what was the process behind that? Like, what's like y'all's like, you get together, you jam, or do you like sit down, write? Like, what's the kind of like writing and releasing process?
Well, real quick, going back to the last question.
Yeah,
I think it's
go
also
ahead.
a great thing that we're called Bull Street Garage, because people will read, like, someone, you get a text and says, like, oh, Bull Street Garage is playing a show tonight at Rooftop. You're like, how are they going to fit this whole parking garage in one small bar? There's no way they're getting up the stairs.
Find a way.
Just a couple cars at a time.
And I think that little factor gets the name around a good bit. But as for the album, it's just like a collection of songs we all kind of took last summer to really sit down, think like, all right, we put out our first little EP, double single we called it, which was Medical Funk, which did really, really well. Really well. We've been living off our music since then. And then we put out Out of Luck in the summer of last year, and we were like, all right, this is like a more listenable song, like let's write some real songs now. And we kind of took that summer that we ended up actually putting that song out, and thought, and winter break I guess was like a big part of it also, because that was like leading up to the final thing. But we all kind of wrote these songs individually. Some of them started over like a year and a half ago. Some of them started a few months before we released the album and kind of came together a little quicker. But someone else can touch on the actual process.
Yeah, I guess it just came from an idea. And for example, Joe brought the idea in for Twice, and he was like, "Hey, so it goes like this," and we all just kind of hopped on it, and then would sit on it until the next part, and then we learned the next part, and then he's like, "Yeah, that's the song," and he had the verses already, and then it kind of just started taking place, and they definitely evolved a lot up until the time when we would go into the studio and actually record them, because we were playing them with each other, we were playing them wherever we were playing that weekend, and they definitely like would change each time we would play them until we would go into the studio and record them.
Yeah, it's definitely different for like not every song was different, but like certain songs just came about certain ways. Like Parker said, a lot of times it would just be an idea would be brought into a practice or a jam, and we would just go off and play it. Like, you know, Joe starts playing some chords, and then Parker will pick up, and then I'll start playing whatever we feel like playing, and then we'll be like, oh, that sounds pretty good, so let's just keep going. And I think that's a lot of the songs, really.
Just tweaking them along the way.
Yeah.
Say, all right, we got to play this one a little faster. A lot of it also, like, we would bring them into the studio. The whole album was recorded at the School of Music, in the recording studio that's in there.
That's so cool.
in a room that you're absolutely not supposed to be recording in. It's like the
mixing room.
It's the mixing,
the mixing room.
It's like the control room as opposed to like a tracking room. But we would just kind of pile in there and try to play these songs, and if we get a take that we liked, we'd bring it home, listen to it, make sure that we liked it, and start to do all the post-production stuff. Mm-hmm. And if we couldn't get it, we thought, all right, well, now we have these recordings, like we can go back, listen, say, all right, we need to do this differently, and then bring it back in when it's ready, after we gave it some more practice, I guess.
Yeah, it's like super cool. Sorry, I love that you talked about Twice, because that was actually like my next question was like Twice and Keeper. Like when I was looking at Spotify, it was like 2,000 plays or something like that, and it was like, whoa, that's so cool. Like what was like, because Twice is like almost very different to Keeper, so like what was y'all's like two different like, oh my god, I'm trying to think of what I was trying to say. Oh my god, like how did y'all come up with like the verses for that? Because like they're two very different types of verses, so it's very interesting.
I think like too, like if you look at the album, there's like different like kind of universes like between the songs, right? Like we're not really a band where like we have like one sound and you listen all, like obviously we sound like us, but we play like a lot of different genres and styles, and I think that comes from a lot of like none of us really only listen to one genre of music, especially like collectively. Like he listens to more of something than I listen to. He listens all the way around. So if like a song like I guess like Twice was kind of more coming out of a place of like wanting to write like more of like a bluesy kind of like jammy song where you can like step on your overdrive pedal and like really like get people fired up, where Keeper was kind of like a reggae idea that Josh kind of brought us and was like, hey, I wrote this really cool kind of riff, and like building it from the ground up from a riff. But I think it's just a big, like the name Bull Street Garage, like it's like a reflection of like there's all different kinds of cars in that garage. Like when I think of like what the band is, there's like a beat up truck, there's like my 03 Buick missing a hubcap, there's like a Maserati, there's like a moped, like there's all different kinds of things in this place, which I think is kind of like the junk drawer of music that like we kind of are, or the funky fondue as we called it at one point.
Funky fondue, that's a good quote.
But I'm sorry, I kind of like lost your question.
No,
you want to hear about the verses?
You were actually going into my next question, which I think might help me get a little understanding more of what you are. Like, what is each of y'all's different favorite type of music? Like, if you could pick a genre, because this is like something that I do with my friends. I'm like, if you could listen to a genre, like your entire life, what would it be?
Yeah. Only one?
You can do like, you don't have to do one, but just like, what would be the genres that you would listen to, like, no matter what? It's kind of a toughy question.
Yeah.
I kind of threw you a curveball a little bit. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, well, I'll kind of use the last question to segue into that. Like Joe said, each song definitely has a different sound and tells a different story, and a lot of that is because there were different people writing them. Like Joe was living in Charleston when he wrote about Twice walking on Rutledge.
Yeah, listening to different kinds of music. Like I was listening to a ton of blues music at the time, like a ton of like Tedeschi Trucks. Like I think also the time span the songs were written like reflect like what we were really listening to at the time, since they weren't all written in the same 2-week window or something. You know, like they've been a year coming.
Yeah,
we can talk about that more later too.
And like with Keeper, that was just like a little riff that I played by accident as I was walking out the door one day and set up my camera, recorded myself playing it so I didn't forget it, and then left to go do whatever I was going to do. And then like revisit it and wrote 7 different versions of the lyrics basically until we found something that fit, and all of them I guess meant different things and were just kind of different stages of life in the cycle that was this song. Yeah, but I don't know, for genres of music, 2 of the songs that I wrote on the album are definitely more reggae inspired. And I do like reggae music, but I don't even know if I'd put that in like my genres that I would always listen to, because there are times that like I don't want to listen to reggae music. I listen to a lot of like instrumental funk recently. A lot. And that's not even on purpose. It's kind of just happened. And I listen to my Discover Weekly a lot on Spotify. And when I'm not listening to that, I'm kind of just listening to the radio. But yeah, recently I just loved like improvisational funk, and instrumental funk has been my big thing. I can't get enough of it.
That's like the hardest question ever.
Or
Especially
literally
for
just
Jack.
like what you're listening to right now. Like
Yeah,
what's
he
your
listens
genre
to the most
right
music,
now?
like the biggest diversity of music out of all of us, for sure.
I mean, right now I'm like flip-flopping between
Just say it.
like ambient minimal techno, which is like Aphex Twin and stuff like that, and then on top of it, I've been listening to a lot of this band Turnstile. It's like a new kind of like, I hate, like, it's not like, they're not like hardcore punk, but like they're based in hardcore like scene, so it's like 2 very, I don't know. I'm all over the place right now specifically, but a lot of like Aphex Twin, Flying Lotus, like that, like hard to define electronic genre, I guess.
Jack sent me an album the other day of Ethiopian jazz,
But it's actually Belgian, Ethiopian.
and it's a Belgian band playing Ethiopian and Middle Eastern inspired jazz. They're called Black Flower, and the album's called Magma, and it's some of the
So
craziest
cool.
music I've
So
ever
cool.
heard.
That's so cool.
I guess jazz too, but there's a lot of spiritual jazz.
Spiritual.
Yeah.
Paka.
Guess I listen to the big umbrella. I mean, would just be rock, but like all the different moods in there.
Oh yeah, there's so many.
I don't know. I like
Only Pearl Jam.
love Pearl Jam. I wouldn't say they're my favorite right now, but I don't know. I guess like alt rock, like psychedelic, like somewhere mixed in there is probably like what I hone to most.
I'm big. I really like Americana kind of music, which like definitely defeats your question of like one genre. But like I love the mix of like blues music. I love the mix of blues and country. And country also being like bluegrass, being like folk music. I go back and forth between really loving like improvisational music, which can just be like a 15-minute long like jam, and also like a 3-minute like sweet song, like that are like more folky like singer-songwriter stuff. So like I listen from that latter one. I listen to like a lot of like I've been listening to a lot of Shaky Graves. Like I love Tyler Childers, but then I also love like Dwayne Allman and the Allman Brothers, and the Grateful Dead and Fish are like and the band Goose. So like, but I think if I had one band, it'd be the Grateful Dead for sure. They're definitely the ones who I've spent the most time with so far.
Yeah, I was like, I think there's like a sign above us, honestly.
Oh,
I'm
The
wearing
big one.
shorts too.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of bluegrass recently.
yeah,
Since
we
watched
saw
that Tony
Billy
Rice
Strings
video.
last night
You saw Billy Strings
in Augusta.
last
Me and
night?
Parker went down, and
That's
like
so cool.
now I've got the bluegrass bug, so like it's always changing, you know what I mean? But it definitely sits in that Americana realm, whether it's leaning more blues some weeks or it's leaning more like folk some weeks or more like country. So
I guess I'm simple. Psychedelic rock does it for me.
psychedelic rock does it for you? You're just like, that's it. I'm done. No.
Even
That's all
Oscar
good.
Compass.
That's so cool. Okay, I feel like I've answered a lot of my questions just by like talking, which
Oh,
I
yeah,
love.
no, that's-
'cause
I
this
just
is,
love
like,
having a conversation,
conversations.
yeah.
This is exactly what this is. It's just a conversation. Okay, so like y'all joined during like COVID times. What was like that transition from just kind of like jamming and like the School of Music or jamming wherever you were to performing like live at like Tin Roof, Cotton Gin? Yeah, Breakers, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we again, like I had never played organized music ever before this band, so everything that's happening and has happened and will probably continue to happen is totally new to me.
Mhm.
And when I had texted Parker and like he had just put out a song over quarantine, I was like, "Oh, this is awesome." We got in a group chat, we're just sending around ideas. This was the first time that I had even like sent my own musical ideas that I had come up with just sitting in my room producing stuff like on my computer. It's the first time I had sent that around to like other like-minded people, which was a cool thing in and of itself. Then we get back to school in August, and Parker's like, "Joe's back at school already. You should go jam with him." So I brought over, I don't even know what I brought over. I think like
It's
my
like your
keyboard,
laptop with all of
my
your
laptop and keyboard and like a
files.
speaker that I was playing keys out of. And it was ridiculous, and like that was my first time really ever playing organized music with somebody. So that was cool, and it really started out as just we would go over to Parker and Joe's house and go up to their room. That was the first time I met Doug. I remember first time we walked into that room, we learned Mr. Blue Sky
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
that
Yeah.
night, which we haven't played since
And
for
reeling
good
in the
reason.
years. Reeling in the
And reeling in the
years.
years. Yeah, we just
Those
did a
two
lot of,
songs.
and we tried to play Moon Dance.
Yeah.
Silly stuff.
Bring those back.
Yeah, we should.
Moon Dance is good.
But yeah, and that's how it kind of started. And then we're like, all right, let's learn these songs. Let's learn these songs. Get in, learn the songs, put a set together. Then my friends text us and say, "Oh, we're having a Christmas party, December 2nd,
8th.
December 8th."
Finals week. Like,
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was home.
I was home as well.
He was home,
Joe
and we're
was
like,
home
all right,
also.
we're gonna go back there for this party and like go play our first show ever. And this was just the four of us before Jack was born.
Before Jack was born.
Way before I was born.
And so
reborn.
and so, like we set up in the corner of my friend's living room. It was this. It honestly might not have been the smallest stage we've ever played. To be real.
Me and Doug
We played some
shared like a
songs,
towel.
too.
Like, we laid a towel down, and like we were literally on the same like towel, like shoulder to shoulder. It was awesome.
I had to like climb on top of the drums to get
Yeah.
behind them. Yeah, but and then we played this tiny show for like my friends, probably like 40 people in the room.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And we changed their lives.
Right. And it changed our life. That was like the most fun I had ever had until the next show, and then the next show, and the next show.
Yeah.
So we realized, like, all right, we can do this. We can go play in front of people. Let's book a show at a real venue. We didn't really do that. We played another show for your guys.
Yeah.
Semi-formal.
Yeah, your guys semi-formal at Vista Union.
I was in the audience for that one.
That was. Yeah, Jack was in the audience. Another tiny show
That was a mess.
that was a mess.
Yeah.
And it's just gotten like messier. It's like more of a contained mess now, but it's just progressed from there. And now we just play in front of a little bit more people.
It definitely started out of just for fun too, though. Like it wasn't like there was no like let's get together and make this band that's gonna try to make an album and then we're gonna try to play the 5-point circuit. I think it was just like you like music, I like music. Like oh man, like because and then it kind of like once we got the offer to play the party, we were like we're not ready. Like we're not like we haven't even. I don't even think we were like aiming to try to play at that point. Like we were just still in the having fun, and we were like, oh, like who cares? Let's just do it. And I think we found out how much fun it is to perform, and we were like, oh, that's what this is all about. Like that's why we practice. This is what practicing's for. So then you can go and do this thing, play with the crowd, like get kind of pass back and forth like energy, and then like I was just immediately hooked. It was like, yup, this is what we're doing now. And I think that was kind of not having that initial motivation to go and make this band and record an album and play shows. It kind of got us to a point in the band where we really had to sit down and like be like, okay, what's our missions? Because right now we're kind of like we're deciding like how serious we want to get, how much do we want to play, how many hours are we going to put into this thing. But it kind of started out as something that was just for fun. So it started to evolve, I guess, and we really had to sit down and look at and be like, all right, what is our motivation? Like why are we doing this? And we're kind of trying to get it back to that initial kind of like we're doing this because we love to do it kind of thing, and not trying to get something out of it, you know. and I think that's like been like the happiest place where from when we play from that, you know.
Definitely. It's a cool feeling. And like thinking back to that first show, like we'd never expect to be in a room getting interviewed with like condoms thumbtacked to the wall. And, like, I got in my car to head over to their house before we came over here, and they had just played 2 Bull Street Garage songs on the radio. It still had our name up on the screen. It said Bull Street Garage twice, and they were like, "Yep, that was twice." And Witch of 5 Points by Bull Street Garage. It's like a really cool thing to
I've
hear.
been
It's like,
sending it to all my friends. I'm
Let's
like,
go.
play
that's
this
like public
band.
radio. So that's a cool thing. Because you never know who just listened to our song. It could have been people driving home from work and they're like, "Oh, I like this band. I'm gonna go."
Philly Strings or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go.
Maybe.
Be like, I want to go see them at like Conjun or Timber
Right.
for that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Like, that was
At
so cool.
wherever we're playing Saturday.
Where were we playing Saturday?
Probably Republic.
They don't know yet.
They don't know yet.
If it was the Saturday,
Venue to be determined.
Venue, venue TBD.
there's
Yeah.
no way.
No, I love that. Okay.
It really seems like,
Yeah.
real quick before we move
No,
on, like
go ahead, go ahead.
the more we like put ourselves in like deeper into this, the more we're exposed to stuff that like we're like excited about. Like I couldn't imagine being in this position like over a year ago, and we just got asked to go play a party, and like that initial party when we got in the room and like sat down and we're like, all right, 3 days before, and we're like, guys, we gotta practice, we gotta learn these songs, and it was literally like just all of us focused in with like a main goal in mind. And the more and more we're doing stuff like that, the more and more it's rewarding and just like so exciting for us. And looking forward, like now it's just like so exciting, just getting stuff on the calendar and like working towards it and having that all in mind, you know. Just gets better and better.
Sure.
Any other one I answer? Or okay, cool. I was like, I want to do this because this is our last question, so I was like, get everything out.
Yeah.
So what is next for BSG? I know you said you might be having like venue TBD this Saturday.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, like kind of what's next? I know some of y'all it's your senior year, so you're graduating this semester, if I'm right.
The 4 of us.
Oh,
And then
wow.
Jack's got 1 more year, luckily.
I'm still here.
One more
Technically
year.
the 3 of us.
So it's
Josh
like-
is already gone.
Yeah, that's the big question. What's next for BSG,
What's next
right?
for GS?
We're all
Maybe I'm
wondering
just
that.
making you think.
No, seriously.
It's always on the mind.
Right now it's
Yeah.
Tennessee. We're going to Tennessee next weekend.
Yeah, I saw that.
Well, this weekend we're playing for our fraternity's event.
We have like a mom's weekend,
Yeah,
so
like
we're
a
playing
mom's
for the
weekend,
moms.
playing
which
for
is
some
gonna be
moms.
awesome.
Wait, what fraternities? Because
It's Chi Psi.
Kai Sai.
Yeah.
And then next weekend, we're going to Tennessee to play like a Woodstock party kind of thing for one of Parker's friends' fraternities. And then after that,
It's just play.
Jumble.
It's
Get
like,
on
let's
the
play as
calendar
many
as
gigs
much
as
as
we
we can.
possibly can.
yeah.
We want to play for as many different people as we can. We just want to. We've had our fun playing and practicing in the bedroom. Now it's time to like, if we've got a couple months left, let's play as many gigs as possible.
We're
So
searching for some dopamine, some stage.
we're
dopamine.
searching for that. Yeah. So,
Practice is a lot more fun.
so tell your
when
friends if
you're
they
doing
need a
it in
band to
front
play
of
their
someone.
party.
Yeah,
we're
no,
the
I'll
guys.
tell our we have like WSC parties, and I'll be like, maybe.
Let's
maybe
go.
I'd like
We'd
to
love to play
all
some.
have them if we have
Yeah.
the room.
I mean, we're hoping to do that Tiny Desk that someone had asked us about, playing a little filmed Tiny Desk concert here that they were going to
Yeah.
film and broadcast, which is exciting.
That's so cool.
So whenever that might be, I don't know. I haven't checked the Instagram DMs, which is the best way to reach us, by the way, at Bull Street Garage on Instagram.
No,
Yeah,
I'll be
but-
like tagging
yeah.
y'all on everything that I do.
But from here on out, I mean, I got an email yesterday from the school. It said 80 days until graduation, which made me cry a little bit. I mean, it sucks. That time's running out with like these resources and this awesome place. But from here until then, and whatever happens after, we're just gonna play some music. That's the fun part.
Gonna have a lot of fun doing it.
Just do as much as you can, as fast as you can.
Yeah,
and have
really
as much
much.
fun.
Yeah.
Because the album was like a lot of hard work.
Mhm.
It was a lot of still fun work, but like it was work. And it was like a year process.
Yeah.
But like the song Trampoline on the album like had been like Keeper trampoline and keeper had seen like all different verses, different choruses, different melodies, different like arrangements of the progressions and stuff. So like, kind of, I don't know, it feels like you're carrying like a kid inside of you, and now like it's on its own legs and it can walk, and you feel like this deep sense of like, okay, like I don't need to do this. Like it has its own life. So now that I feel like we've got that burden of like birthing these songs into the world, we can just have a good time for the rest of our time here, you know, and just play.
We're done breastfeeding too.
Yeah, they're on their own. They're in preschool. We're out the door.
Like I watched one of those Trey videos, the first songwriting one. Trey Anastasio from Fish has been putting up videos on Instagram. He just talks about music, and this last one was about songwriting, and he basically said like, use that same analogy, like you're carrying a child inside of you, and like you can judge yourself while you're pregnant, and like if you go and like do drugs while you're pregnant, you can judge yourself, but as soon as you put this baby out, like nobody's judging a baby. It's just like, it's out and it's on its own. And we nursed it a little bit, definitely. We want people to listen to it and want people to think it's good, even if they don't actually think it's good. Try to brainwash them a little bit with our funny Instagram posts or whatever and our stage antics.
But our work's done with them. Like we put in the work, and now it's like 11 collective songs, and people can listen to them. And
now it's in your hands.
Until the deluxe album comes out.
Yeah, until we get
tracks.
signed by Fat Possum and we're recording a double.
So cool.
Yeah. Sign us, Fat Possum.
You hear this?
We got a black.
We want to be on your
label.
label.
We'll do it.
If y'all made CDs, just send them out to every single record people here.
Seriously.
Well, that would be the dream, right? Like someone we can keep doing this, but we're planning on just having as much fun. You know, there's no sense in not to. And fun for us is playing parties and playing bars and playing for folks. So.
Is the Black Keys guy Dan Auerbach?
Yeah.
Hey Dan Auerbach, you're gonna be opening up for Bull Street Garage very soon.
It was Delta Blues.
Get your set ready. Oh, was that the Cobra? That was the whole cover album they put out, right?
Was it a cover?
It was their double
I
track.
think it's singles on
But
it,
thanks
too.
so much for
Like,
having
seasons
us. I
of
really, really appreciate you.
Yeah, of course.
there
Thank
was
y'all
a
so
lot of,
much
like,
for
old
coming.
blues
Like, I
songs,
really
yeah.
appreciate it. This is like my second interview ever, and
Let's
I
go.
was very nervous.
You're really good. Are you
So-
kidding
oh,
me? Your
really?
questions
Thank
are
you.
great.
Thank
Your questions
you.
are great.
Awesome. Okay, well, this has been Bull Street Garage with Mary Local. Thank y'all so much for coming, and yeah.